Man, branding is so important, man. And I feel like for Black people, I think it's really important that we get this down. Don't build your business to just take in the Black community. Like, build your business, and like, think of your business as like, you're the best. Think like one day Beyonce, think like one day, you know, Jon Favreau, think somebody's gonna wanna come and shop with you. Like already see yourself on like another scale. And I think when you start there, that's where the branding comes in.
How's it going, guys, and welcome to another episode of Secrets to Silent Success. Today we have the one and only JP of JP's Pancake Company here in Austin, Texas. How you doing this morning?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Cool.
Appreciate you for taking the time to be here, man.
Thank y'all for having me. Really appreciate that. Yeah.
Got you. So we know you started off in the restaurant industry, in the hospitality world. One day you seen the manager have a box of pancake mix, and it kind of got your wheels turning. Can you tell me a little bit about the story of how JP's Pancake Company came about?
Yeah, man. So moved here to Austin. Felt God called me here to kind of, you know, start over.
Sure.
The basketball didn't kind of work out the way that I wanted it to. And I was working at a Taco Cabana. That was one of the jobs that I did while I was in college. And I had a manager named Larissa. She left some pancake mix behind. You know, if you work in the restaurant industry, at any point, like, you bring all kind of stuff into the kitchen. So it's like,
Sure.
If you work at a Mexican restaurant, at a certain point, you don't want to eat Mexican food. Like, you bring in pizza, you bring in donuts, you just bring in anything that's different than what's on the line. So
Sure.
She brought in pancakes. And so one night, you know, one of those nights where you don't want to eat anything in the store, you start looking for what everybody else brought in.
Yep.
And she had the pancake mix, and I was like, you know what, man, like, this looks kind of good. I never really made pancakes before, so it was a slow night. I wasn't like hungry for anything. And so I got to kind of kill like two birds with one stone. I got to try something, you know, making pancakes,
Yeah.
and kill my time with that. And I also got to eat pancakes. So went around the store, started putting stuff like in the batter or whatever.
Okay.
Just like never really like made a pancake before. So I was just like throwing stuff in it that I felt that would make it good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I added some water, mixed it up, and made my first like pancake. The first one wasn't too good, so I think I made it like a little thicker or something like that, and then like threw it down again, and that one turned out better. Mm-hmm. And I ate it. I was like, this is pretty good, you know. And I thought it was like, I didn't think it was like, whoa, like you know how people like they'll come up with a concoction and be like, man, like this is
amazing.
it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, it's, you know, pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
But my coworkers tried them, and they were more like, I think you just kind of hit the jackpot type of deal. Like the excitement was crazy. And so I ended up just making all the pancakes till they ran out and fed everybody in the store.
Yeah.
And again, didn't think of it that night, but eventually that just became a thing. I would bring a box of pancake mix when it was slow. I started making it, and then eventually that kind of spread to my roommates, parties, and different things like that. And then from there, it was like, yeah, just kind of became something that people were like, you should do something with.
Gotcha. So tell me about that transition. You said, hey, it started just yourself, then to your co-workers, to parties and friends, and then it transitioned to a full-time entrepreneurship with a business. Tell me how that transition came about.
Yeah, so it kind of, like, you know, at these parties, like, you know, you meet all types of people, you know, right, if there's food there, like, you know, there's food, but then, like, every now and then, it's like, hey, like, JP, like, bring the pancakes through. Like, you know, somebody heard about it, my roommates, you know, told people, like, hey, like, can you bring pancakes to the thing? And so, like, yeah, sure. Like, to me, it's like a party trick. Like, it makes people happy. I want to share it with everybody. So, like, I'm bringing them through. And then it's kind of like the word for the, hey, JP's going to be there with the, you know, with this little pancake thing. You know, and a real messy operation back then. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Just kind of a pitcher, a pancake mix, some Dixie plates, and like a griddle from Walmart. I think I just did enough of those, and then I started doing like some, like, you know, I think someone had me do their wedding, like then someone had me do their baby shower, then someone had me do like a man camp, and all these were for free, right? But like it started going from that to, you should start a business with this. And so I started getting that recommendation from people like, yo, like you should try, you know, opening up a shop or something. Like, I feel like these will really do well. And that wasn't in my plans. That wasn't what I pictured for my life. So I struggled with that a little bit, you know, before I jumped in. Like, I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, it was like, nah, I kind of don't want to be seen as like the pancake guy. To me, ignorance kind of made me think like, you know, I was a ball player. Like, I feel like pancakes and like sugar and fruits, that's kind of feminine to me. I was like, again, just ignorant, you know? And so like, I was kind of just like skeptical that that was God's plan for me.
Yeah. What helped you that transition though, to go from, hey, I don't know if this is for me, to going full all in on it?
Man, going full all in, I think the change was just like, just realizing that like, okay, cool, like, I don't really know what I wanted to do. I had some ideas. I switched majors a couple of times and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I was like, you know what, man, like, I'm young, it's worth trying something. What's the worst that could happen, you know? And so I think just those thoughts, I think praying about it helped. But I also think too, there was a movie called Chef that I watched. And so like through prayer, through talking through a bunch of people, through just like thinking about what this would even mean, what this would even be like, and just replaying all the conversations in my head. I think all that led to this moment where I watched this movie, Chef by John Favreau, which is like already one of my like film heroes. I mean, dude's a beast, like, and he's so like quiet, like no one really knows who he is, but he's done. I mean, if you just look up his discography, I guess that doesn't work in film, but like if you just look up his resume, like he's a beast. And so he made this like chill little movie that he was just kind of being, you know, like just a little cool project called Chef, and I watched it, and man, that was one of the most inspirational movies that I've ever seen like in my life. And it's about a dude that starts a Cuban food truck, and he's trying to break away from the restaurant industry. I wouldn't call myself like I was in the restaurant industry wanting a new chance, but his story kind of just was like, man, watching everything, it's just a cool, good feel movie. Like that got me hyped. And I was like, you know what, man, like let me look into what all this costs. And then from there, I guess I just never looked back.
Gotcha. What advice would you give to someone who's maybe looking to transition something that's a hobby or something that they feel like, okay, it maybe could be something to get that inspiration, motivation, and are you talking about the funds to be able to transition to, oh, let me go ahead and do this?
That's a good question. You know, I don't know if there's any like one type of advice I can give. You know, I feel like I'm trying to think back at like what I did. If you have a part-time job, keep that for sure. Or like if you have a job, keep that for sure. But now I would say like the rest of your time dedicated to that hobby. If you feel like it could be something and you feel like you're onto something that the world would love and that people would kind of like respect and appreciate, I would dedicate the rest of your time to that. So I feel like between work and school, and then even when I was out of school, like the rest of my time went to just like creating new recipes and just trying different things and perfecting what I did and just getting really good at my craft. Like I wanted to, like I feel like right now, if you put me in, like if there was a world pancake competition or something like that, and you put me in there, I feel like I'd win.
Yeah, that's like the competitor forever. That's the ball player coming out.
That, and then also just like I feel like I flipped so many pancakes.
Yeah.
Like I flipped so many, like I flipped all types. Like I've tried all types of batter. You know, and so it's like, I kind of just became obsessed with this without even really trying. The passion kind of overrid it, but when you look back, the passion says like, yo, this dude has probably flipped 100,000 pancakes, 1 million, I don't know. Like I flipped a lot. Like I fed a lot of people for free, just trying stuff. And so I would say the key is just obsessing over it, and then eventually like that obsession will kind of make room. And I think, man, like don't be scared. Like it is a scary thing to think about, like, you know, I would just say take it a step at a time. Like don't think too far into the future. Like obviously dream, set goals, like try to picture your name in lights and things like that. But man, just like take it one step at a time. Like for instance, if you make the best hot dogs, right? Just practice making hot dogs. Like get on the grill, practice, like just like cook for people, like hey man, I'm trying to perfect my hot dog recipe, or I got some sauces I want to perfect. And get on the grill, do that. Then you might say, hey man, like actually, I don't know if I have a dog that I like, I want to make my own.
Sure.
Then look into, there's something online that can teach you how to make your own hot dogs. Then looking at that, then maybe you might say, hey, like maybe the food truck route isn't the route, maybe I want to actually produce my own hot dogs in the store, and then like go that, you know, just but you gotta fully commit. I think the big thing that I see with young people, I've seen it with like just kids that I mentor. I've seen it with like, I just feel like the younger generation, you know, if my brother's watching this, like I feel like he's struggling with this too. No shade to him, but just like, I feel like the young world, and I'm young too, but I feel like Gen Z is like trying to hit a home run at their first at bat.
Yeah.
Like you go into bat and you're trying to hit a home run. So what does that mean? You're waiting for the perfect pitch. You're waiting too long to swing, right? And you do that because like you're not worried. Like you're going up there, you're thinking like I want a grand slam, like I want a home run, and it's like nah, like get on base.
Yeah, yeah.
Hit a little dinger, like hit it past second, hit it past third, get it past the dude at third, and just get on first base, right? Swing, like swing. You might not even hit it and get it on first base. Swing and you might miss, but like swing, like I feel like the way you really get good at what you're trying to do is like, man, you take a couple swings and you get in, like, but if you just sit, like just imagine if a pitcher walked up to the mound and was just like sitting there waiting, you know, and let's say you didn't have 3 pitches. You say you had like 15 and he waited all 15 pitches.
Yeah.
You're like, what's he doing? Nah, like keep like swing at some that are far left.
Yeah.
Swing at some that are right down the middle.
Only way you're gonna get better is keep swinging.
Yeah, and then you might hit one. It might not be a home run. It might be a double. You might get on base.
Yeah.
You know.
But that's progress.
Yeah, you know, just like, and so it's like, man, just like Gary Vee, like every now and then he'll say something cool. I think one thing that he said that I take away from him is like, people forget that, especially if you're Gen Z, like in 10 years, let's say you get nothing right for 5-10 years, you'll still be super young.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll still have like a world of opportunity in front of you. So just like try everything.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Somewhere in all that, I'm hoping is the advice for entrepreneur trying to move from, or aspiring entrepreneur trying to move from like conceptual to like actually doing this.
Actually, no, there's a lot of good stuff in there. I would ask you, I know with your pancakes, you're a little different, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily a breakfast spot, it's
For
kind of
sure.
an evening dessert
Definitely,
spot.
definitely.
Where did that idea come from?
That's a great question. So we started off actually with breakfast, and funny enough, I think, so this quote describes how we moved to dessert, because we start off with breakfast, and the quote I want to give is like don't let other people that can't see your vision talk you out of your vision, right? Like, so I think in the beginning, in my mind, it was just pancakes. Like I didn't think eggs, bacon, sausage, hash browns, things like that. I just thought just pancakes. But then as you start telling people stuff, and that's why you got to kind of be careful who you tell certain things, I kind of started hearing people say, hey, I don't think you can just do pancakes. Like people actually told me that. Like I'm not just making that up. Like people said like, you got to have, like you can't make money just doing pancakes. Like you have to have eggs, bacon, sausage, hash browns.
Sure.
Like that's where you'll get the more money. You got to have orange juice. You got to have all these things. And so, you know, obviously fear set in because I'm thinking like the vision I had was just pancakes. The vision God gave me was just pancakes. But then I started talking to other people that couldn't see the vision.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I don't know if that'll work. You should try this. This is more safer.
Yep.
And I gave into that. And so in the beginning for a while, we did breakfast stuff.
Gotcha.
And we had some pretty cool breakfast items, like enough to where like I feel like one day I might start a breakfast company.
Yeah.
And I feel like we made some pretty cool things. But over time, I started feeling the tension and the stress of doing all that. And it was like, that was because this wasn't my lane.
Yeah.
It wasn't our lane. It wasn't what we were supposed to be doing. And so from there, we had to do like a big, expensive like rebrand the logos, change up some stuff. That's where kind of a lot of the confusion with the name came from, because like the name was trying to incorporate like a breakfast thing, and I was just trying to do too much. And so that's why I'm really big on like JP's Pancake Company. Like it's all together, because the name kind of in the beginning was like more about breakfast.
Yeah.
And so like JP's Pancakes kind of like, I don't know, it makes more sense if you see all the stuff. But anyway, we changed all that, and I was like, you know what? Okay, cool, we're changing all that. And before we changed all that, we changed our hours, and then we made sure the branding matched that. And we said like, yeah, this is a dessert spot. It's more of a sweet. It's a very rich item. These aren't just Denny's or IHOP.
Yeah.
No shade to any of those guys, but like, this is JP's Pancake Company.
Yeah,
Like this
something
is a
unique.
gourmet dessert.
Yep.
And the vibe I got in the beginning was that I got lights, I got people hanging out, I got dark, mixed with bright colors, so like dark for nighttime, like I got potentially music playing in the background, I got all those things. Those were the pictures that I saw in the beginning, and so we just started working to getting back to that picture. Like, what do we want it to be? We want people to be out late, enjoying our stuff, date night, dessert craving, whatever, bring their family, and so I was like, yeah, we're not a breakfast company, and like we'll do breakfast like events, like we have a whole catering event side of our company, so we'll do breakfast stuff, but our identity is a gourmet dessert shop,
Yeah.
And we're the only one in Austin, and I'm pretty sure in Texas, maybe in the United States, that solely focuses on a pancake. Like, that's all we do.
Yeah.
Awesome. IHOP do burgers.
Everything. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So you talked about the transition from doing something that wasn't necessarily your vision to doing something your vision. Yeah. I know you all are huge on branding, right? Sure. You got the turquoise colors, the cups, the truck, everything's on brand. Yeah. You really thought about this brand. Tell me about the importance of branding. Man,
branding is so important, man. Man, it kind of like, I don't know if I want to say this.
Say it.
Man, branding is so important, man. And I feel like for Black people, I think it's really important that we get this down. I feel like sometimes we come into, for me, I grew up in HUD, I grew up in most cities, so like it was like, I had a vision of how I saw business done there. And it wasn't that it was bad, but from what I saw, from my little narrow view, it was just it was like kind of family run, like not really thinking of like I could be the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And so I think like the first thing I want to tell Black people, and I feel like we get this now, but growing up, there wasn't really anybody saying, nah, you could be the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And you should try to be the biggest thing in the world. And so I would say, first of all, like, for my brown brothers and sisters, man, like, don't build your business to just take in the Black community. Like, build your business and like think of your business as like you're the best.
Yeah.
Like, so like if you do cupcakes, if you do hot dogs, if you do hair, if you do nails, think like one day Beyonce, think like one day, Jon Favreau, think somebody's gonna want to come and shop with you. Like already see yourself on like another scale. And I think when you start there, that's where the branding comes in. Because for me, I was like, what do I want? Like, do I want to be like small town, like kind of whatever? Because I feel like you're just like, oh, I just want to be in the neighborhood. Your branding reflects that.
Sure.
So it's like you're not going to care about the logo. You're not going to care about the words. You might just get a random font that you think is cool and just like put it on there. And like it doesn't really say anything, doesn't really mean anything, doesn't connect anything, doesn't make people feel anything. But I from the jump, I thought, man, I want to be the next crumble cookie. Like I want to be the next McDonald's. And we might not get there. Yeah. We might not be that, right? I like the Starbucks. Like, and so what about it was their logos that I felt like did it, like Damon John, one of my biggest inspirations, like if you think of FUBU, you can think of the logo in your head right
Absolutely.
Now.
McDonald's, like, the Golden Arches, you see it all.
You see it in your mind. Yeah. Like, so it's like, think of a logo that like when people close their eyes and they think of your brand, they see it in their mind. And again, there's a ton of businesses that are huge and making a bunch of money that don't have that logo. And so again, at the end of the day, like it's really just what you want. But for me, it was like more than anything, I wanted our branding to say like, if you were to put these top 50 brands in America in a box, JP's would be one of them. And you could just put the JP circle and people could look at that and say, that's the best pancakes in the United States of America. Yeah. If we get there. Yeah, my mom was in business for a little bit and that was, again, like she'll probably never watch this, so I'll say this. But that was like, so I'm Nigerian as well. And so I feel like, man, I hope she don't see this ever. I just feel like one of the struggles with her business was like, how do I turn this Nigerian restaurant into a restaurant that's not just for Nigerian people? Yeah. Like, how do I make it so anybody like that is craving Nigerian food can come in and have a good experience and not necessarily tailor to them, but to think about them. Yeah. Like, and so like that, your branding is just like logos and colors is just one part of it. But like your branding feeds into how you do things and how you operate and how you do certain things. And so I just feel like because their business was tailored to just Nigerian people,
Yeah.
it really didn't cast a wide net as it could have.
Yep.
And she makes the best Nigerian food of all time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people over exaggerate. I can bet $1 million, like if I had $1 million, I would bet $1 million that anybody that tried my mom's Nigerian food, white, black, brown, red, blue, whatever, you coming back.
Yeah, yeah.
You coming back. Like, you're gonna, like she could be as big as Kava.
Yeah.
You know, she could be as big as Panda Express. She could, like, easily.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there is still a dream of mine that I want to kind of go back and help my mom.
Yeah, but you think it was the mindset of being, I know you've talked about this before, the black-owned business or the support black business.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with
Nothing
those
wrong
things
with that. Nothing
at all,
wrong with that
but
at
you
all.
have to think outside of that box of a black-owned business and just be a great business.
Just be a great business.
Yeah.
Like, just because, like, I think that sometimes that box kind of just like, okay, cool, I'm just going to promote the black people.
Yeah.
So all my stuff, my font, my whatever, the things that I use are just going to promote the black people. And it's like, you know, and sometimes like I would get that, like I think I got voted like top 5 black dessert, like in Austin or something like that. And it was like, it was cool, but it was also like,
You limited me. I want to be the top
I'm
5
trying to be a
dessert.
top 5, like how's
Over everybody.
you know what I'm saying?
Everybody.
And, you know, like in general, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, am I just good enough for black people? And it's like, and I appreciate the support from my brown brothers and sisters, but like, it was like, man, like I want to just be good.
Yeah.
Support black businesses for sure, because we need to push black entrepreneurship. Like, I go back to my hood and I'm like, man, like I think we can revitalize this area, and I think we can revitalize the mindset if we just start thinking business from a very early age.
Yep.
Like, don't think about working for somebody else. Think about starting something, even if it's a side hustle that can make money, like that can make you 30, 40, 50 grand a year.
Yeah.
That's something, you know,
How do you
side hustle.
Maybe infiltrate is the wrong word, but other entities and other mindsets infiltrate the hood all the time.
Man,
so I will use the word infiltrate. How do you infiltrate the hood with this entrepreneurial mindset? Because for me, it was, especially as a black man, you go to work, you work your 40 hours, you get your benefits, and then that makes you quote unquote a man.
Exactly.
You out there playing with cameras, playing with pancakes, trying to build a business, is not being a man. So how do you infiltrate the hood, infiltrate the mindset of the black community to be like, hey, we got to go out there and get equity.
For sure.
That's what we need. We need equality, but we need equity too.
Exactly. We need space in the game. I think, man, the thing is, it's just a fear, you know. Like, I think a lot of us, and myself included, are just like driven by fear, and so like driven by like fear and a need for security.
Yeah,
like,
that
so
scarcity
for me,
mindset.
Yeah, you know, I grew up poor.
Yep.
My mom did a fantastic job. My dad was murdered at a very young age.
Wow.
She, an immigrant from Nigeria. Like, I mean, they came here when they were like teens or like teenagers, but like, pretty much she didn't really know anything. She was a stay-at-home mom. My dad had left no money for us. And so she raised like 5 kids making probably 30 grand a year. Like, I was in college making more money than my mom. It didn't feel right to me. Yeah. You know, like I was like cleaning pools or something like that, and I was making more money than what my mom made to take care of 5 kids growing up. And so like, my only thing that I think in my mind is one day I want to buy my mom a house. One day I want to move her out of, you know, Mo City. Shout out to Mo City. I love Mo City, but like I don't want her to live there.
Yeah.
One day I want to even be able to provide for my family if they need to, or like take care of my mom. And so it's like, you think of those things and you think, what's the easiest thing to get there? And no one thinks business. Yeah. Everybody thinks
hoop dreams.
Hoop dreams, right?
Music.
Basketball, music, or really good degree. And that's it. And that's what we're limited to. But no one's thinking like, the business might take 15, 20 years, right? You might take 10 years and sell and get a fat check and then take that money and then do some, you know.
Those 10 years are going to pass regardless. You might as well build a business.
Yeah, it's like you might as well try to build something that like, it might last you your lifetime and your kids' lifetime. Like, that's where generational wealth starts coming in, you know? And so again, like I think people are thinking, like I think you have to see yourself as a stock, but you also have to see everything that you touch and everything that you're doing as a stock as well. Yep. And so like, what's better, to have just this one career that you're paid by somebody, they determine when you come in, when you leave, whenever, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, please don't hear that there's some times, bro, that I'm like, I wish I had a 9 to 5. Like trust me when I say, this ain't,
life is real.
This business that was like, yeah, bro, it ain't always fun. Like, there's some times I'm like, bro, I should just go get a job, make a 6 figure somewhere. I can. Yeah. Like, just do that. It's easier. I don't have to pay nobody. I don't have to worry about all the bills or whatever. Yeah. I live pretty cheap anyway. Yeah. I'll be fine. Like I do that for 10 years. Sometimes that's fine if you can get that. But I think a lot of times, like, I can get fired from that. Like, I think I can get fired from that. Yeah. I could lose my job for that in a very important time, you know. But I can't get fired from JP's, you know. Like, I can't get fired from this shop. And so it's like, man, thinking, like, what if this works? But it's such a big risk, but everything's a risk. Yeah,
I was gonna say, not to get too much on a tangent, but it's interesting that we think of entrepreneurship as very big risk. Yeah. It's a lot of fear involved in entrepreneurship. Yeah. And I'm like, I have 30, 40 clients. Exactly. You have 100 customers a day, but someone working a 9 to 5, you only have one paycheck. You lose that 9 to 5, you don't have a way to sustain yourself. You lose 10% of your customer base, you still have a way to sustain yourself. So it's always an interesting and ironic kind of mindset when it comes to 9 to 5 and entrepreneurship. But to get back to the show notes, we want to talk about JP's Pancake Company.
For sure. But it's all good stuff though.
All great stuff. So you have some interesting menu items, right? So you got them named after celebrities, Matthew McConaughey, Tupac. Tell me, how did that come about? That's really cool.
Man, so I think the biggest thing is just I'm always thinking branding. I'm always thinking marketing. I'm always thinking how we can do it for free. Because there's media companies out there and they're great, but it's just like, man, people charge so much to just run an ad for you nowadays. I'm like, do it really cost that much? And I get everybody's got to eat, you know? So it's like, you start thinking of ways to get your name out there by yourself. And so, Keisha Cole, like, to Tupac, to McConaughey, I just started Pancakes that, like, I was like, man, what? Like, I came up with creations, and I think I came up with the pancake first, and then I came up with the name after. So for the Tupac, which is a seasonal thing, so we don't have that currently. It was a white chocolate pancake with homemade blackberry syrup and blackberries. And I made that pancake before I thought of Tupac, and then I looked at the pancake and I was like, man, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. And I just thought about that. I was like, okay, that's a Tupac, you know? The Keisha Cole, you know, I'm a huge fan of Keisha Cole. And so, like, that pancake as well had a similar basis like the Tupac, and just add, like, instead of white chocolate, dark chocolate with, like, and so I was like, man, like, that feels like a Keisha Cole. I feel like Keisha Cole is like that one person that, like just dudes can relate to for some reason. Like I feel like we know her music more than girls do. Yeah. You know, and so I'm a big fan of hers. So I just thought about that. And then McConaughey, I just look at him as just like this dude that just does everything. Like, absolutely. He's done everything. You know, career-wise, he's just been on everywhere, and he's also like, Austin. And still local. You know, and so like just. So I thought the McConaughey, you know, it's like very Austin, very local, but still very Hollywood, and still very in all types of, like, he's been in Interstellar, like a crazy cool movie, but he was also like the king of rom-coms, and so he's just like all over the place. And so I would just think of a pancake and think of like who's somebody that would be a cool thing to name it after. And some of them are named after like more chill people. Like some of them are named after like people that I met at the shop. Like I have a pancake named after like someone that like came and created the pancake with the BYOB, and I said, man, this is really good. We're gonna add it to the menu. Wow. So we have one called the Haley. It's just a random girl that I think she actually lives in Dallas. Yeah. And so it's just the inspiration comes from different things. Yeah.
So also, you said everything on the menu is under $10. Right? Yeah. So what was the mindset behind that? How do you pull that off when inflation is crazy in our economy?
For sure. So I just feel like, you know, for me, I kind of started off thinking, that's another thing with branding. Like, people think branding is just colors. Like, I started off thinking, okay, pricing. Yep. What do I feel like people will eventually want to pay for this? And so I think a big mistake that entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs make is they come in the game and they charge very cheap for their prices. Mm-hmm. Let me first of all come out here like 3 years ago, maybe even before, and let me set the prices of like what I feel like the best in my industry are. Mm-hmm. And so I looked at the prices of people that were doing what I did, like all types of places, whether it was cupcakes, cookies, like any type of dessert. Yep. And I said, this is what I feel like they charge. So I'm gonna charge a little bit more than that. Okay. Cause I thought about inflation 3 or 4 years ago.
Sure.
Like I considered that. So I was like, let me actually price it a little higher. So I started off like with a number. I was like, cool, like this is as high or a little higher than like my competitors, which I don't feel like I really have any. I just use competitors just for terminology.
Yep.
I was like, cool, but I know people are gonna kind of like, I'm not sure, but I know it's good, so I feel like it's gonna be fine.
Yep.
And then I said, all right, let me change the price one more time, and that was it.
Yep.
And I did that then because I said, right now, we don't even have our pancake mix, like we make everything by hand right now. Like eventually, we want to get a distributor, and that'll kind of streamline the process. And so I know that the price point for us will come down.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I buy, like all the ingredients for my mix come from like the grocery store, from like Amazon. So like, I know once we can streamline that, our prices will come down, which means our profits will get bigger. So I said, like, let me just take a chance right now.
Yep.
And it did turn out that I was right, that the product was properly priced. If you compare other desserts and what it would cost to go get ice cream at Jenny's or cookies at Crumble Cookie or whatever, it's the same exact price.
Yep.
You know, to get a Pizookie at BJ's, it's in the lane.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think my product is better than all of them, no shade. And so it was like I was on the money, and I was like, cool, like, and then this is crazy because like we're making a profit on our product right now, and we haven't streamlined it yet. Once we streamline it, it'll drop down. So you just gotta do your research, I feel like.
Yep.
I also know I didn't want to be expensive. It's gonna be expensive if you want your pancake to be expensive. But
sure.
When you get the product, you'll see like it's all the money's in there, you know.
So you mentioned you use the word competitors, but you don't really have too many competitors. But however, Austin is like the king of food trucks.
Exactly. Yeah,
right?
True.
So how do you stay competitive? Not necessarily with people in the gourmet dessert area, but just in general. It's a million food trucks on the street. How are you competitive?
That's a great question. So I feel like the key to staying competitive is to not see the competition.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, like, if you ever hooped before, like for my hoop guys and like basketball, like you hear your coach, he might say something like, don't play, like if you're playing somebody that's like a team that's not as good as you or like worse than you.
Don't play down to your competition.
That's it. Like, don't play down to your competition. Play up to like our standards. So, and you would like everybody has seen a team that was like the best team, and they played the worst team, and the worst team ends up winning somehow. It's like, how did that happen? They played down to the competition. I'd have some people tell me, oh, like, you're my competition. I'm like, okay, like, cool, whatever. Like, in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm not. Not in a prideful way. Not that you're not even doing better than me, numbers and whatever, but you're thinking about now. I'm thinking about 20 years from now.
Sure.
I'm competing against myself 20 years from now. And so how do I keep up with the competition? I compete against myself.
Sure.
Now, occasionally you can look around and see, all right, what are other people doing that you feel like is helping them out?
Yeah.
Right? Not in a way of like you see them as better than you, but you get, like, there's nothing new under the sun. You get inspiration from all different outlets. And so like,
you're scouting.
Yeah, you look at other people like, oh, cool, like they did that, that's dope. Like, we can do that, that's easy. Oh, cool, they put a sign out here, and that you know, that kind of helps. Like, all right, cool, we can get a sign, like, but I'm not doing it to compete with them. Yeah. I'm doing it because I want to be better. And there's a lot of people that are better than us, and we can respect them and not see them as competition, but respect them as like they're doing their thing, and we can take some ideas and do our thing with that and make it our own. And so, yeah, I think the biggest thing is just like, I'm always like, where are we at? Where do we suck? Where do we want to get better? Yeah. And make sure that you next year is better than that you now.
Yeah.
You know?
So we've talked a lot about hooping. So I'm going to go ahead and just ask some hoop questions.
Right?
Obviously, most people who are hooping, whether it's through school, high school, whatever, got hoop dreams, right? And then you realize at a certain point, hey, them hoop dreams are not going to come to be. How have you been able to apply some of those things that you learned? We've already talked about some, right? But how have you been able to apply some of those things that you learned, that competitive forever, just that mindset of being an athlete to what you're doing in entrepreneurship?
For sure. So I know, like, man, just, it's crazy because, like, one thing about basketball that's cool is, like you play with a team, and so you play with different people, and so, you know, for the most part in high school, I was like the leader of my team, and so like whether it was like just statistically or just like influence-wise, and so it's like you think through the lens of a team. That's one, and I think you also think through like drills, and you think like, what are the importance of drills? So then that translates to systems. Like, I'm a big systems guy, even though I suck at it. Like, I'm probably the worst person when it comes to systems. And we have some, and people would say like I'm being too hard on myself, but I'm always trying to get better with our systems when I can think about them. You know, the one thing my coach would always tell me is like, do it wrong, do it long, do it right, do it light. So it's like, if we're running suicides and we're going to the baseline, but we're not really touching the baseline and getting across, right? They'd have a coach right there, like, all right, cool, like, all right, man, everybody stop, get back online, you know? Or he'd make us run it all the way through, and then like, hey, man, so-and-so didn't touch the line, so we're gonna do it all again. So that translates to don't cut corners. Like, do it the right way. Like, do it the right way. Like, get all the things you needed for business. I pay my taxes, right? I'm not trying to get caught up in nothing. Like, I'm doing it the right, like our ingredient, like everything, I'm doing it the right way. Like, I'm not going to cheat myself now and later get, you know what I'm saying, put in a position to, and so, yeah, I think those are some of the things that I think of. I mean, there's a million different analogies that I feel like basketball kind of helped, you know, pave, but just there's a tremendous amount of discipline that comes with this, but I would say don't think about the discipline. Be obsessed, and the obsession will create the discipline needed to maintain the brand.
This is Secret to Silent Success. So would you give me JP's Pancake Company secret to success?
For me personally, again, like, I'm not sure what everybody believes out there. I'm a follower of Jesus, man. Like, I love God, and so I think, honestly, ultimately, like, everything I've told you, I think comes from just like knowing that like my purpose, like, was rooted in God and was rooted in that. So like to me, like, I don't want to use that and say like, oh, like, follow God and like everything's gonna be successful and everything's gonna be great. But like, if you're asking me like, what's the driver, what's the main motivation, it's giving Him glory. And so like, that's a different standard, right? Because if my motivation was to give myself glory or to make other people proud of me or happy, then I feel like this is a lower bar. But if I'm like trying to please God, ultimately it's gonna make you happy, it's gonna make my customers happy, it's gonna make my team happy, it's gonna give me fulfillment. And so there's just such a high standard that I shoot. And so I think the secret to success is the standard that you set on yourself. For me, it's glorifying God. Whatever it is for you, I would just say set the bar really high, and then just always try to reach it. And I think like if a kid spends his life trying to, like, if you take two kids that are both the same height and you put a 45 inch vertical and you say every day do whatever you need to do to reach 45 inches. But like one kid has 45 inches and the other kid has like 36 or 30, right? I think over 5 years, a kid that did everything trying to get to 45 might not get to 45, but he won't be at 30. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't reach too high, you aim too low. J. Cole.
Exactly. Shout out J. Cole. Another big influence. Yeah, so I would say standard, man, and just, my faith is a huge, like, honestly, like, just being, like, real, like I tell people this all the time, not even just as, like, I truly believe I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I really don't feel like I know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of waking up, you know, I know what I have to do. And I get that done. And then in my spare time, when I'm not doing what I have to do, I think about what I can be doing to make the business better. So ultimately, I believe if you just show up, like, more times than not, like, you're going to beat out everybody in your, like, that's in your lane or in the lanes across you. Like the people that just show up every single day, every single hour, every single week, month, year, over 10 times, the people you started with, it's going to be very few. And so consistency over time honestly just wins. So you don't even got to be that good, just be consistent, show up. But a lot of people can't. Just like the average food truck span, I think in Austin, last time I checked, maybe in Texas, it's like a year.
Wow.
That's crazy to me. It's like a year, you know? Like the average from the highs to lows is a year. So that means there's people that don't make it 6 months. You know, and so, and even if it's 2 years, that's still crazy. So it's like, but it's all God's grace, man, at the end of the day. I'm a product of that. And you know, secrets of success, man, that's my secret right there.
I appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
It was fun, man.
Yes, sir.
Cool.